After years of millennials shouting about housing to anyone who'd listen, Canada's politicians have finally agreed that yes, there is a housing crisis. They even included grand housing affordability plans as key parts of their platforms. On the surface, this sure seems like good news. It wasn't too long ago that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau wouldn't so much as utter the words housing crisis. But a deeper read of the three major parties' proposals reveals they're still stuck in fantasyland, dreaming they can somehow make homes affordable for young Canadians without angering the older ones. A more cynical columnist may even accuse them of pandering to young Canadians' homeownership dreams with little intent to follow through on anything resembling real change. Here's the problem no politician wants to talk about. In order for homes to become more affordable, they have to decrease in value. That'll likely require upsetting some baby boomer homeowners who are, despite their waning influence, still Canadian politicians' most feared demographic. But there's no other way out of this mess. There's no reality in which average salaries increase enough to make current prices affordable. And as a whole, our mortgage debt is already out of control. An average household debt above 80% of GDP is considered bad for a country's economy. Ours sits at 112% of GDP. This means any plan that increases Canadians' ability to take on more debt is the equivalent of waving lit matches over a sea of gasoline. Eventually, the whole thing is going to blow. Yet, this is what the Liberals, Conservatives, and NDP plan to do. Their housing plans all contain a version of making qualifying for mortgages easier, increased first-time homebuyer incentives, or extending mortgage terms. While these may sound like buyer-friendly policies, all they do is stoke demand, increase debt loads, and turn those lit matches I mentioned into flamethrowers. They're going to turbocharge Canada's real estate burn rate. At a bare minimum, the absurd amounts of equity gained during the pandemic, as much as 40% year over year in some regions, have to be clawed back. And the harsh reality is that even if all those COVID gains disappeared, housing would still remain out of reach for the average Canadian. Yet not a single political leader has acknowledged this, let alone plan for it or set targets. It was just a couple months ago, Liberal MP and Parliamentary Secretary for Housing Adam Vaughan said his government would consider even a 10% decline in housing equity intolerable. Has that stance changed? If not, how can we possibly take any Liberal housing plan seriously? But while we're at it, the other party should be asked the same question. Will they accept declines in existing equity? If so, how much? If they can't answer, then we know their housing plans are nothing more than feel-good fluff.